We have already completed few topics from your pharmaceutical engineering, and I think only 3 or 4 topics are remaining from pharmaceutical engineering. And after that, we will able to finish the. We have already completed our size reduction, size separation, drying, evaporation, crystallization, distillation, heat transfer, evaporation, etc., etc. So what is remaining? So remaining then material construction also we have seen in the previous sessions. So that few topics like flow of fluid, then transportation of fluid, then mixing, and then this establishment of industry, humidification, dehumidification, and corrosion. That's all. So these topics are remaining. So today we are going to see 2 topics from that. That is nothing but the establishment of pharmaceutical industry, humidification, and dehumidification. So these 2 topics we are going to see: establishment of industry, humidification, and dehumidification. So in the last session of pharmaceutical industry, we have seen material construction. Now we'll see establishment of industry and humidification, dehumidification. Actually, these topics, 2 topics, are very small topics, and that can be covered in a half an hour. But if you see the previous year paper, and nowadays I am also complying the that compiling the drug inspector paper and pharmacist exam paper. So in that also I am finding some questions from these 2 topics: establishment of pharmaceutical industry, humidification, and dehumidification. So I think that's why I have decided to take these 2 chapters in one lecture. Let's start. Establishment of pharmaceutical industry. So establishment of pharmaceutical industry means, so if you suppose that you have completed your bachelor of pharmacy, and you want to start your own business. So you want to start your own company. So for that you have to do certain homework. So what kind of homework you have to do? So you are willing to establish your own industry. So uh, you have to take some points into consideration. So that what are those points? Those points we are going to see in today's session. Okay? So there is certain difference between normal industry and pharmaceutical industry, because in the pharmaceutical industry, so we are dealing with the drugs. We are dealing with the disease drugs and chemicals that modifies the physiological status of individual. So there is a little bit difference. So other industry and pharmaceutical industry. So you have to take into consideration. So you should be uh, there are a lot of regulatory guidelines you have to comply for the pharmaceutical industry. So one by one we'll see these factors. So first, there are different type of pharmaceutical industry. So there are different type of pharmaceutical industry. So first, crude and processed botanical drugs. Some pharmaceutical industry, they are dealing with the crude and processed botanical drugs. Okay, so they are just dealing with the extract, then extraction process, collection and extraction, and formulation of these botanical or traditional medicines. Like for example, your Baidyanath is there, etc. Baidyanath is there. A lot of other Ayurvedic companies are there. They are dealing with the crude and processed botanical drugs. So there are certain companies which are dealing with the fine chemicals and pharmaceutical products. Fine chemicals and pharmaceutical product means what? Fine chemicals and pharmaceutical product. That means conversion of purchasing of chemicals, purchasing of raw material, okay, and conversion of that raw material into formulation. So that is nothing but the fine chemicals and pharmaceuticals. So what we call them as a modern drugs. We call them as a modern drug. There are different types of companies that deals. Okay, there are different types of pharmaceutical industry like crude and processed botanical drugs. These companies are dealing with only herbal drugs. Okay, we call it as a traditional medicine. Then there are certain companies which deal with the fine chemicals and pharmaceuticals. That means you have to purchase the raw material, chemicals, and you have to convert these chemicals into product or formulation. For example, tablet, capsule, suspension, emulsion, and all that. So those industry, what we call them as a modern pharmaceutical industry or modern dosage form. Okay. So some companies deal with the only herbal drugs. They are traditional. Few companies they are engaged in the conversion of chemicals into pharmaceutical formulation. there are certain companies which will have proprietary drugs. They will have pre-packed medicines. Okay, they will not disclose their formula to the public, but they claim that this particular formulation will cure a certain kind of disease. These are the proprietary drugs. There are different kind of industries, as I have told you. So crude processed botanical drug, some industries are dealing with these only, like crude processing and herbal drug. Some industries are dealing with the conversion of raw material into finished product. Some companies are involved in the proprietary drugs. Okay, now a pharmaceutical manufacturer, again they are of three kind. Pharmaceutical manufacturer, they are of three different types. So what are these? So pharmaceutical product manufacturer may be either biological product industry. They are maybe engaged in the, please mute yourself. They may be involved in the, they may be engaged in the biological product industry. That means they are involved in the vaccines, sera, etc., etc., biological products. Okay, product of microbial origin, product of animal origin, etc., etc. So these kind of industry, pharmaceutical manufacturer may be of different kind. Like first one is a biological product industry. In that they will they are engaged in the manufacturing of your vaccines, sera, and all that. Okay, biological products. Now medicinal and botanical industry, so they are involved in the isolation, extraction, and formulation of uh, botanicals. Okay, then pharmaceutical formulation industry. So in case of medicinal and botanical industry means, medicinal means they are involved in the bulk drug, and botanical means they are involved in the your botanical drugs. Now third one is the pharmaceutical formulation industry. So these industry, they are involved in the conversion of raw material into finished product or the dosage form. For example, companies, whatever the pharmaceutical companies are there, they are nothing but the, they are purchasing the raw material from here, and they are taking additives from other companies. They are taking bulk drug from other companies, and they have their facility to formulate the formulation. So those kind of industry are known as a pharmaceutical formulation industry. So you have to decide what you have to do. अगर आपका बी फॉर्म हो चुका है, आपको अभी आप जॉब नहीं मिला कहीं पे भी आपको, तो आपने सोचा कि नहीं यार चलो जान दो, आप इंडस्ट्री डालते हैं। तो इंडस्ट्री कौन सा डालना है, इंडस्ट्री किस टाइप की होता है, फार्मा में कितने टाइप की इंडस्ट्री होती है, बल्क ड्रग करना है, फॉर्मुलेशन करना है, या फिर आपका ट्रेडिशनल में जाना है। सो ये सब आपको डिसाइड करना है, या फिर प्रोप्राइटरी मेडिसिन बनाना है। सो यू हैव टू डिसाइड दैट. Okay, so while you, once you decided what company, what type of company you have to raise, what type of company you have to start, then you have to focus on the factors, different factors that affect the establishment of industry. What are the different factors that you have to take into consideration while set up in your industry? आपको इंडस्ट्री सेट करना है, आपको इंडस्ट्री डेवलप करना है। ऐसा नहीं कि आप जाके गांव गांव में जाके इंडस्ट्री डाल दूंगी, ऐसा नहीं। इंडस्ट्री डेवलप वहाँ पे रेज करने के लिए, इंडस्ट्री एस्टेब्लिश करने के लिए बहुत सारा फैक्टर्स होता है. सो यू हैव टू टेक इनटू कंसिडरेशन. These factors are divided into two types: primary or fundamental factors, and derived or secondary factors. So these factors they are asked in the last year exam, so that's why. Okay, so first one is the primary fundamental factors, fundamentals of primary factors. तो इसमें क्या क्या आता है देखो, raw material market, raw material market, energy availability, and transport facility, labor supply. Transport facility and labor supply, these are known as a fundamentals or primary factors to establish the industry. So you have to take into consideration these factors. Okay, whether raw material is available near to you or not. Okay, suppose that you have done everything, you have constructed the company, you have license, all you have took all the license and all that, you are now you are starting your company. So your company is ready to work, but there is no availability of raw material in your area. So what you can do, you cannot process your industry. So you have to take into consideration whether there is a raw material availability. So raw material availability is very important in certain kind of pharmaceutical companies. For example, so if you want to establish a herbal drug company, then you must have to take this into consideration, raw material. So you cannot you have to you have to choose a location like that there is availability of raw material or not. That raw material is fundamental or primary factor. Again market. Okay, market is again fundamental factor. Okay, so market है या नहीं वहाँ पे, आप अपना जो भी प्रोडक्ट है वो कहाँ पे बेचोगे, बना तो लिया लेकिन बेचना भी है ना, पैसा कहाँ से कमाओगे. So whatever product you are making, So you have to sell that. The market should be available over there. So availability of raw material, availability of market should be there. These are also again a primary factor. Again third one is energy availability. आपने अगर ऐसे कोई कॉर्नर में या फिर ऐसे कोई लोकेशन पे इंडस्ट्री डाला वहाँ पे इलेक्ट्रिसिटी अवेलेबल ही नहीं है, so how can you process your how can do your daily work, how can you manufacture tablet and all that without energy? So energy availability is again a primary factor or fundamental factor. Okay, so availability of energy, though there are lot of alternative options are there. For example, you can purchase your own generator and all that, diesel generator and all that. The diesel should be available now, right? So energy availability, market, raw material, these are the primary factor. Again transport facility. Okay, suppose that you have made one product and if there is no transport facility available over there, so how can you market your product, how can you take your product to market? So transport facility is available or not? So your workers also, they should also have this, they should also require this transport facility. So raw material, market, energy availability, transport facility, labor supply. Alone you are not going to work in your industry, you need a labor. For that labor should be accessible, there should be a labor supply. अगर आपने कुछ बहुत गांव खेड़ में इंडस्ट्री डाल दिया वहाँ पे लेबर ही नहीं मिलेगा. So skilled personnel or skilled labor is required. Okay, so that's why most of the industry they are present in the metro cities or well established cities. For example, Mumbai, India, Kolkata, Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, then Hyderabad, etc., Aurangabad, etc., because these factors, primary factors, are available over there. Raw material is available easily, you can get raw material. If you want to order 2 tons of talc, you can easily order. Lot of suppliers are there in the, lot of suppliers will be available in the Chennai, lot of suppliers will be available in the Hyderabad, like that. So raw material, market, energy availability, transport facility, labor supply. So you have to remember these are the primary factors. Okay, now we'll see what are the derived factors or what are the secondary factors. So derived or secondary factors, so these these are very important. First you have to take into consideration these factors. Now second, derived or secondary factors. What are these? First one is climate and soil. Climate and soil. If you want to use formulation industry, so this climate and soil doesn't matter. Okay, because most of the your pharmaceutical industry work is carried out in the AC area, air conditioning rooms. Okay, so climate doesn't matter, but it is advised to establish your industry in a cool area, not in a hot area. So अगर आप वहाँ पे अगर hot climate है, आपका AC भी क्या करेगा, कुछ नहीं कर सकता. So climate, okay, again soil. So soil may be a primary factor for herbal industry. Okay, so if you want to establish a herbal industry, then soil is important factor. Soil is a primary, but for pharmaceutical industry, soil is a secondary factor. Okay, this was question in GPAT 2021. One of the following is not a primary factor to establish a pharmaceutical industry. इतना simple question था और बहुत सारे बच्चों ने वहाँ पे wrong लिया. See, derived factor, what they are secondary: climate and soil, then government concession, water supply, then others like waste disposal, site characteristics, then then flood and fire protection, community factors. These are the secondary factors. So climate and soil. आपको soil का क्या करना है? आपको आपके यहाँ पे लाल मिट्टी है या फिर काली मिट्टी है या फिर खुरदरी मिट्टी है, आपको क्या उसमें पेड़ थोड़ी उगाना है. आपका इंडस्ट्री क्या है? फॉर्मुलेशन इंडस्ट्री. आपको टैबलेट बनाना है, रॉ मटेरियल मिलेगा, आपको टैबलेट प्रोसेस करना है, तो आपको सॉइल से कुछ लेना देना नहीं है. सो सॉइल इज अ सेकेंडरी फैक्टर फॉर ए फार्मास्यूटिकल फॉर्मुलेशन इंडस्ट्री, but it may be a primary factor for establishing a herbal drug industry. Okay, so climate and soil, then government concession. Government concession. So government will give you concession in the new developing MIDC area. Suppose that for example यहाँ पे भी नगर के आसपास कोई MIDC का एरिया है, भी वहाँ पे अप्रूव हो गया, तो वहाँ पे नया कंपनी कोई नहीं जाएगा. तो गवर्नमेंट क्या कर दिए, उनको वहाँ पे एस्टेब्लिश खड़ा करने के लिए कंसेशन देती कि आप यहाँ पे आओ, आपको सब्सिडी मिलेगी, तो लोग वहाँ पे जाते हैं, वहाँ पे भी डेवलप हो जाते हैं. तो दैट्स गवर्नमेंट कंसेशन. देन वाटर सप्लाई. आपकी कंपनी को वाटर सप्लाई भी चाहिए, बिकॉज मोस्ट ऑफ द वर्क जो है वर्कर्स वो सबको यूटेंसिल साफ करने के लिए, क्लीननेस के लिए सबको वाटर लगता है. सो वाटर सप्लाई मस्ट बी देयर. दैट इज अ सेकेंडरी फैक्टर. देन वेस्ट डिस्पोजल. whatever waste or byproduct are coming out of your production. So suppose that you are inhaling the syrup or you are inhaling the tableting. So whatever byproduct are dust, then wastewater and all that. So that the facility should be available there for waste disposal. अगर आपके वहाँ पे कुछ अंडर मतलब अंडरग्राउंड ड्रेनेज नहीं है वहाँ पे और आप इंडस्ट्री का पानी आप रोड पे छोड़ सकते हो नहीं, इंडस्ट्री का जो वेस्ट वाटर है आप कहाँ पे भी किसी के खेत में छोड़ सकते हो नहीं. So there should be a waste disposal, proper underground drainage system and all that. So most of these factors are already available in the well-established cities like Aurangabad, MIDC areas. Okay, so that's why most of the company they used to establish in the MIDC area. Waste disposal, site characteristics, then flood and fire protection. वहाँ पे नदी के आसपास नहीं बनाना है कंपनी, नहीं तो क्या होगा, हर साल बाढ़ आएगी आपकी कंपनी डूब जाएगी. ऐसा नहीं. फ्लड एंड फायर प्रोटेक्शन. So food हो गया वहाँ पे, that should be a flood. Okay. Then community factors. These are the derived factors. So remember what are the primary factors, what are the secondary factors. I repeat again because this was the question. That's why you have to remember. इसके ऊपर और भी क्वेश्चन आ सकते हैं तो आपको ये मालूम होना चाहिए. So what are the fundamental or primary factors for establishment of industry? That is a raw material, market, energy availability, transport facility and labor supply. These are the primary factors. Okay, these are the primary factors. Then secondary or derived factors: climate, soil, government concession, water supply, waste disposal, site characteristics. Okay, then food and flood and fire protection, then site characteristic and community factors. These are the secondary factors. So remember primary or fundamental factors, secondary or derived factors. You should not get confused with these terms: primary and fundamental, or secondary and derived. So whatever pharmaceutical industry or whatever industry you are going to establish, that should be according to the Indian Factories Act 1940. जो इंडियन फैक्ट्रीज एक्ट होता है आपका 1940, उसके नॉर्म्स के अकॉर्डिंगली ही आपको इंडस्ट्री खड़ा करना पड़ता है. सो स्पेशल प्रोविजन फॉर फैक्ट्री प्रेमाइसेस, location, layout, and everything must be according to the norms of Indian Factory Act. And if it is a pharmaceutical industry, then it should be according to the Indian Factory Act as well as Drug and Cosmetic Act and Rules 1945. So अगर आपको फार्मास्यूटिकल इंडस्ट्री है तो इंडस्ट्री जो है उसका एस्टेब्लिशमेंट, उसका लोकेशन, उसका लेआउट, उसका पूरा वर्किंग एरिया, each and everything should be according to the norms of Indian Factories Act 1940. And if it is a pharmaceutical industry, then it must be according to the norms of Indian Factory Act as well as Drug and Cosmetic. Now you are engaged in the production of your conversion of raw material into product. So there might be some kind of pollution. So there are different kind of pollution that comes out in the industrial area. So it may be either thermal pollution, it may be either air pollution, it may be either water pollution, it may be either noise pollution. Okay, so you have to control that. Now we will see the details of these in the upcoming slide. You can see, so building for factory shall be constructed as so as to permit production under the hygienic condition, and that should be accordance with the norms laid by Factory Act 1948. So whatever company you are setting, particularly for pharmaceutical industry, so building for factory should be constructed in a such a manner that it should permit a production under hygienic condition. ऐसा नहीं कि वहाँ पे जैसे बाकी इंडस्ट्री होता है वहाँ वैसे वर्क नहीं होता इंडस्ट्री में फार्मास्यूटिकल. So you might have visited one of the industry, so you have seen that. So strictly hygienic conditions they are maintained over there. The factory should be it should be according to the norms laid down by Factory Act 1948. Now there are different kind of pollution in the industry. So industrial pollution and control. Okay. So इसके ऊपर भी कभी कोई एक क्वेश्चन आ चुका है ऑलरेडी, तो that's why we are taking. First one is the thermal pollution. Thermal pollution and control. So what is thermal pollution? So thermal means heat. So if there is a generation of extra heat and you are just passing that heat to the environment, so that is nothing but the thermal production. That is nothing but the thermal pollution. Okay, you have to control it. So temperature change, any temperature change in the environment has a negative impact on a different different environment. For example, negative impact on aquatic animals. So जैसे आपके environment का temperature बढ़ता है, अगर water का temperature बढ़ता है तो aquatic animals जो होते हैं, जैसे fish हो गया आपका, जो भी अंदर के aquatic animals, so they used to die. So there is a negative impact on aquatic environment. Again, increase in the temperature of environment also assimilative. It has a also decreases the assimilative capacity of organic waste. That means normally what happens, normally organic waste, they are decomposed by environmental bacteria. So if environmental temperature is increased, so that bacteria will die. So the that organic matter will not be decomposed. So that thermal pollution and control. So any temperature change that has a negative impact on a aquatic environment. Also this temperature change or increased temperature in the environment decreases the assimilative capacity of organic waste. Then there are certain laws. There are now strict or more stringent laws, federal norms. So federal FDA has given the norms regarding the increase in the water temperature. So you have to control this thermal pollution. So now what are the measures जो आपके इंडस्ट्री में जो थर्मल इमिशन हो रहा है, जो थर्मल पोल्यूशन हो रहा है, उसके लिए क्या मेजर्स कर सकते हो? तो ऐसा नहीं कि थर्मल पोल्यूशन हो रहा है तो वो बंद कर देंगे आपकी इंडस्ट्री, नहीं, आपको बोलेंगे इसको कंट्रोल करो. मेजर्स क्या है उसके लिए? सो यू कैन कंट्रोल योर थर्मल पोल्यूशन बाय कूलिंग टावर्स. इसके ऊपर क्वेश्चन था, कूलिंग टावर्स. कूलिंग टावर्स, सो कूलिंग टावर्स, व्हाट इज कूलिंग टावर्स? ऐसा क्वेश्चन था. आई थिंक कूलिंग टावर्स इज यूज, कूलिंग टावर्स आर यूज्ड टू कंट्रोल द वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग काइंड ऑफ पोल्यूशन. और वहाँ पे ऑप्शंस में थे थर्मल पोल्यूशन, वाटर पोल्यूशन, एयर पोल्यूशन और नॉइज पोल्यूशन. तो थर्मल पोल्यूशन इज कंट्रोल बाय कूलिंग टावर्स. तो थर्मल मतलब क्या? इंक्रीज इन द टेम्परेचर. कूलिंग क्यों करते हैं? जैसे टेम्परेचर इंक्रीज हो रहा है तो भी कूलिंग करेंगे हम. सो कूलिंग टावर्स, cooling ponds, they are used for controlling the thermal pollution. Okay? Now what are the different types of cooling towers? Different types of cooling towers. Are you getting or not? समझ रहे हैं आपको? Hello. Now different types of cooling towers. So first one is the weight cooling tower. Weight cooling tower. So weight cooling tower मतलब क्या? So in this kind of tower, in this tower, a mixture of your air plus condensed, that is cold water. That's why it is known as a weight cooling tower. इसमें एक टावर रहेगा, उसमें क्या रहेगा? मिक्सचर रहेगा, एयर का मिक्सचर प्लस कंडेंस्ड वाटर मतलब आइस. सो वो रहेगा और वो टावर में वो रहेगा और वो टावर एनवायरनमेंट में रख देंगे. वो जैसे वहाँ पे जो एनवायरनमेंट में कॉन्टेक्ट में जो टेम्परेचर है, वो टेम्परेचर कम हो जाएगा उस एरिया में. ओके, सो टेम्परेचर डिक्रीज because of the that exchange of that environmental temperature with the cold water. Okay, so evaporation of water will take place and the temperature of environment will be decreased. So that is a weight cooling tower. इसके ऊपर एक क्वेश्चन था कि मैच द फॉलोइंग टाइप का क्वेश्चन था. डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ कूलिंग टावर्स एंड देयर weight cooling towers, mixture of your ice or mixture of your cold water plus air. So cooling result because of the evaporation of water. When a hot air or environmental air will come in contact with this cooling tower, so there will be that your ice will be melted, okay, by utilizing the heat of environment. That is a wet cooling towers. Now dry cooling towers. Dry cooling towers. So condensed water, here ice is used. Here ice is used. Here condensed cold water. यहाँ पे cold water use करेंगे, यहाँ पे ice use करेंगे. Dry cooling towers, condensed water, that is ice, temperature is increased due to conduction and convection of heat transfer to the water from air. Okay, so these type of cooling towers are also constructed and they are also constructed in the environment and they are filled with the ice. Okay, so whenever a hot environmental air will come in contact with that cooling tower, so that uh, heat from air will be taken into the ice and ice will get melted and environment will be cooled down. That is a dry cooling tower. Then next one is a cooling ponds. Cooling ponds suitable. Okay, cooling ponds means ponds मतलब क्या होता है? Ponds में तो लेक होता है, जैसे छोटा लेक. लेक में क्या होता है? वाटर होता है. कूलिंग पॉन्ड्स में वहाँ पे वाटर का लॉगिंग रहेगा, सो दैट एनवायरनमेंट विल बी. सो कूलिंग पॉन्ड्स दे आर सुटेबल व्हेन देयर इज अ लैंड अवेलेबल विद अ रीजनेबल प्राइस. वहाँ पे ज़मीन ही नहीं है पॉन्ड बनाने के लिए आपको कॉस्टली है, तो आप वहाँ पे कूलिंग पॉन्ड नहीं ऑफर कर। कूलिंग पॉन्ड्स दे आर सुटेबल व्हेन लैंड इज अवेलेबल एट अ रीजनेबल प्राइस एंड दे आर कंसिडर्ड एज अ हीट रिमूवल। इसके ऊपर क्वेश्चन, वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग ऐसा ऊपर क्वेश्चन था। सो कूलिंग पॉन्ड्स दे आर कंसिडर्ड एज हीट रिमूवल, they will remove the heat due to air water interface. Air water interface heat is lost, so at the interface, air water interface, so water will take the heat from air and it will be lost, so that will result in the cooling of environment. Now next one is the spray ponds. So these are nothing but these are static ponds. Cooling ponds means they are nothing but the static ponds. So water is not static, not in environment. But spray ponds means water is being sprayed a particular area. So these kind of spray ponds require less area than cooling ponds. So it is an alternative for cooling ponds in cost when the cost of land is too high. So you can construct a spray ponds. वहाँ पे ऐसा स्प्रिंकलर वगैरह यूज करके एक पर्टिकुलर एरिया में वहाँ पे एयर में आप वाटर स्प्रे कर सकते हो, उस एरिया का टेम्परेचर वहाँ पे कंट्रोल में रहेगा या फिर कम रहेगा। अगर आपकी कंपनी की वजह से आपकी कंपनी की वजह से थर्मल पोल्यूशन हो रहा है, तो यू कैन कंस्ट्रक्ट दिस स्प्रे पॉन्ड नियर टू योर कंपनी so that whatever thermal pollution is being exercised, that will be in a control. So it requires very less space, and that's why it is alternative to cooling ponds. And cost of land, when the cost of land is too high, it only requires 5 to 10% of area of cooling pond. Due to more air water contact, drift loss, corrosion problem are also less than cooling ponds. So these are the different types of uh, different measures that can be used to control the thermal pollution. Thermal pollution control करने के लिए ये measures लेना है. These are nothing but different measures. याद रखो जो ponds and towers, cooling towers कहाँ पे यूज करेंगे अपन? थर्मल पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल करने के लिए। इसमें वेट कूलिंग टावर्स भी होता है, ड्राई कूलिंग टावर्स भी होता है, और कूलिंग पॉन्ड्स वो भी किसके लिए होता है? थर्मल पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल करने के लिए। ये याद रखो एक बार, towers, cooling towers, and they are used to counteract thermal pollution. You can see over here, this is a type of cooling tower. This is type of cooling tower. तो एक कूलिंग टावर ऐसा कंस्ट्रक्शन किया जाता है इंडस्ट्री के एरिया में, और यहाँ पे इसमें ये डिपेंडिंग अपॉन ड्राई कूलिंग टावर है या फिर वेट कूलिंग टावर है, उसके अंदर आइस होगा या फिर कंडेंस्ड वाटर होगा। ठीक है, तो जैसे ही एनवायरनमेंट का एयर जो है यहाँ पे कॉन्टेक्ट में आता है, सो एयर विल गेट इन कॉन्टेक्ट विद दैट। ये जो हॉट एयर है यहाँ का हॉट एयर, तो यहाँ पे ये जो वाटर है वो अंदर जो वाटर है कूल वाटर या फिर कोल्ड वाटर, वो वहाँ से हीट लेगा एक्सचेंज करके और वो गर्म हो जाएगा, लेकिन एनवायरनमेंट में जो गर्मी है वो कम करेगा, ठीक दैट लाइक। दिस इज जस्ट एग्जांपल ऑफ हाउ कूलिंग टावर वर्क्स। तो उसके ऊपर एक ये यहाँ पे फैन भी लगाया हुआ है। तो एक्सचेंज सरफेस जो था, these are the exchange surface. Then you can see over here, this is the example of your spray cooling pond. स्प्रे कूलिंग पॉन्ड। यहाँ पे देखो एक इंडस्ट्रियल एरिया है, यहाँ पे क्या लगाया है उन्होंने स्प्रिंकलर्स लगाए हैं। तो इसी एरिया का टेम्परेचर जो बढ़ा है आपके प्रोडक्शन की वजह से, वो कम कर सकते हैं आप। कैसे? बाय यूजिंग स्प्रे पॉन्ड्स। ओके, ये स्प्रेस। वाटर पोल्यूशन, तो वाटर पोल्यूशन कैसे कंट्रोल करेंगे? सो वाटर पोल्यूशन अबेटमेंट, treatment of water, liquid, waste, effluent. So what is, how water pollution is there? कंपनी में वाटर पोल्यूशन कैसे करेगी आपकी कंपनी? जो आपके कंपनी का ऑर्गेनिक वेस्ट है या जो भी आपने वॉशिंग किया है, मान लीजिए कि आपने एक बी कॉम्प्लेक्स का टैबलेट का बैच बनाया, उसके बाद में बैच बनाने के बाद आपको दूसरा प्रोडक्ट बनाना है, दूसरे बैच बनाना है, दूसरा प्रोडक्ट लगाना है, वहाँ पे का जो पूरा वॉशिंग करना पड़ेगा। वॉशिंग करने के बाद जो ट्रेसेस जाएंगे, so liquid, whatever water liquid is there, so that also cost of your vitamins and other fluent. So treatment of water liquid based effluent is more complex than gas effluent. गैस अगर है तो उसका ट्रीटमेंट इजीली कर सकते हो, लेकिन वाटर का ट्रीटमेंट उतना इजी नहीं। लिक्विड वेस्ट में कंसिस्ट ऑफ डिफरेंट टाइप्स। लिक्विड वेस्ट में कंसिस्ट ऑफ डिसॉल्व गैसेस, डिसॉल्व सॉलिड, dissolve liquids, dissolve solvents and all that in your slurry. जैसे आप सॉल्वेंट भी यूज करते हो, तो सॉल्वेंट हो सकता है उसमें, डिसॉल्व सॉलिड हो सकता है, डिसॉल्व गैसेस हो सकता है, और इट में भी आए तो स्लरी और कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड और इन अ डाइल्यूटेड फॉर्म। सो दैट इज नथिंग बट द योर लिक्विड इफ्लुएंट, लिक्विड इफ्लुएंट। ओके, लिक्विड इफ्लुएंट मीन्स लिक्विड वेस्ट. ओके, so after जो भी कंपनी का लिक्विड वेस्ट. So now what should be the measures for to control the water pollution? So there are three. So physical treatment is there, then chemical treatment is there, then biological treatment is there. Okay, so physical treatment, chemical treatment and biological treatment, that is, these are the three measures to control the water pollution or water pollution abatement. ये याद रखो. Cooling towers and cooling pots, they are for the thermal pollution. They are used for thermal pollution. याद रखो. Physical treatment means you can remove the large floating or suspended particles initially by means of different फिल्टर्स, लार्ज फिल्टर्स. जैसे आपकी कंपनी में बहुत वाटर का वेस्टेज होता है, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल जैसे वाइनरी वाइनरी अगर है, वाइन कंपनी या फिर बियर की कंपनी जो है, उसमें देखो लिक्विड वेस्ट बहुत ज़्यादा होता है. उसमें उसमें इनिशियली कुछ फिल्टर यूज़ करते हैं कि जो बड़ा बड़ा सॉलिड है या फिर बड़ा बड़ा कोई सॉलिड है, so floating and suspended particles, large floating and suspended particles, they will be removed initially, and then that liquid will be subjected for sedimentation to clear it. Okay? And then clarification with a circular clarifier with continuous chain sludge scraper. Then उसमें आप adsorption method भी use कर सकते हो. So adsorption using activated carbon to remove refractory organic substances. जो वाटर रहे उसमें आप इनिशियली उसको फिल्टर करो, जो लार्ज अमाउंट लार्ज बड़े बड़े साइज के जो सॉलिड है वो निकालो, उसके बाद में सेडिमेंटेशन करो, जो बच्चे कुचे सॉलिड है वो भी निकालो, एंड लेस देन जितना लेस सॉलिड रख सकते हो वो वाटर में वो रखो. मैक्सिमम ट्रीटमेंट आप वहाँ पे निकाल लो, मैक्सिमम जो कंटेमिनेंट है वहाँ पे निकाल लो. ठीक है, मैं एडसॉर्बेंट भी यूज कर सकते हो टू एब्सॉर्ब द organic substances and toxic substances, color. Okay. Then lastly, membrane filtration from methods can be used like ultrafiltration, reverse osmosis, then electrolysis. They can be carried out as a final treatment. Okay, and in-plant recovery stimuli also there. So mostly जो chemical industry होता है उसमें ये treatment 100% होता है. Physical treatment, chemical. Then chemical treatment में क्या? फॉर एग्जाम्पल सपोज दैट आपको मालूम है कि आपके जो वाटर वेस्ट है उसमें एसिड कंटेंट रहेगा क्योंकि आप एसिड में डील करते हो, तो यू कैन न्यूट्रलाइज दैट. इसमें डील करते हो तो यू कैन न्यूट्रलाइज दैट. ठीक है, आपके अगर इसमें कोलाइडल मैटर है तो उसको रिमूव कर सकते हो बाय एडसॉर्प्शन एंड ऑल. अगर उसका कलर आ रहा है आपको, वो कलर आपको न्यूट्रलाइज कर सकते हो. ऑर्डर आ रहा है गंदा तो उसको ऑर्डर को न्यूट्रलाइज कर सकते हो. Chemical treatment used to remove the colloidal matter, color, odor, acid, alkali, heavy metals or oils present in the water waste. It is brought about by ये कैसे करें, coagulation method यूज कर सकते हो, flocculation, then emulsion, breaking, precipitation and neutralization reactions. This is a chemical treatment of water. Now next one is a biological treatment. Biological treatment means using a microorganism. Some bacteria, normally bacteria will oxidize the organic material present in the water waste to form a carbon dioxide, water, sulfate and similar waste material. So dissolved oxygen in the water is taken up by bacteria to oxidize the organic content. So biological oxidation means so using bacteria. So biologically अब बैक्टीरिया को ही उसको यूज करेंगे वाटर ट्रीटमेंट के लिए. So there's bacteria, whatever oxygen is dissolved in the water, will take that oxygen, utilize that oxygen, and convert your organic waste into either carbon dioxide, water, or sulfate, or other similar material. Okay? That means ultimately your water is getting less oxygen. So oxygen level will decrease from the water after biological treatment. इसके ऊपर भी क्वेश्चन बन सकता है कि ऑक्सीजन लेवल आफ्टर बायोलॉजिकल ट्रीटमेंट ऑक्सीजन लेवल विल decrease, not increase. Okay, because that oxygen will be utilized by bacteria to convert your organic waste into this carbon dioxide, sulfate, and water. That is a treatment of water. That is the measures to control the water pollution abatement. Now air pollution, air pollution. Okay, now air pollution. Now these air pollution are of two type. ठीक है, आपके जैसे आप टैबलेट पंचिंग करते हो, अगर वहाँ पे जहाँ पे एरिया जो है टैबलेटिंग का, वहाँ के एरिया में इतने पार्टिकल्स रहेंगे कि आपको you cannot see that particle by eyes. They are because they are in a micron size. You cannot see that, but they are there. Okay, they are getting entered into your it getting entered into your eyes, your respiratory tract and all that. Okay, so air pollution control, so that is nothing but the type of air pollution. So there are two types of air pollution. So air pollutant or air effluent, you can call it air effluent. So effluent are of two types. Now first effluent that is suitable for removing the particulate matter, जिसमें particles है और आप filters यूज करके उस air में के particles remove कर सकते हो, that is a suitable for removing the particulate matter. And second one is a associated with the removing the gases of pollutant. क्या है ये किसमें क्या है, एक आपके जो वाटर एयर निकल रहा है आपकी कंपनी से, जो धुआं निकल रहा है उसमें क्या है कि पार्टिकुलेट मैटर है, तो आप फिल्टर यूज करके उसको रिमूव कर सकते हो. अगर उसमें अगर toxic gases है so that can be removed by physical and chemical method. Now, there are different measures, there are different ways. Okay, so can be coarse particles matter can be removed by settling by removed by settling chambers. Okay, settling chambers, these are the particular type of chambers where the air is allowed to settle. तो एयर उसमें डाल देंगे वो चम्बर में, वहाँ पे सेटल होगा, उसमें जो भी सॉलिड पार्टिकल है वो वहाँ पे सेटल डाउन हो जाएंगे. So settling chambers, cyclone separators can be used, then spray chambers can be used, then another measure is there. So those particle which are coarse one, मतलब जो बड़े वाले पार्टिकल है वो ऐसे सेपरेट करेंगे by using settling chambers, cyclone separators and spray chambers. Now those particle which are in a sub-micron size, तो ये आपको दिखेगा नहीं. Sub-micron size particles are removed by high energy units like high energy units like filters or electrostatic precipitators. तो ये electrostatic precipitators क्या होता है, देखो वहाँ पे जो चैम्बर है उसमें क्या रहेगा, हाई वोल्टेज करंट रहेगा, and because of that high voltage current, whatever particles are present in the air that gets charged, वो चार्ज हो जाएंगे और जो मेटल है उसके ऊपर जाके वो एड्स अप होंगे या फिर अटैच होंगे. दैट्स हाउ यू कैन रिमूव द माइक्रोन साइज पार्टिकल बाय electro precipitation or electrostatic precipitators. Then Venturi scrubbers are also there. They are also working on same principle. Intermediate particles from the air can be removed by impingement separators and low energy weight collectors. Then adsorption, again adsorption method is there. Adsorption, condensation or incineration are used to remove the gaseous pollutants from airstream. ठीक है, अभी ये जो फर्स्ट तीन थे, these three measures are for solid particles. So अगर आपके इसमें एयर में सॉलिड पार्टिकल्स है तो उसमें ये काम, these are the measures. But if your air has a toxic chemicals, then adsorption method, condensation or incineration methods, can be used to remove the gaseous pollutants from airstream. Now dust explosion. Again, these dust means again by solid particle in the air. So that can be controlled by either filtration, inertial separation मतलब cyclone separator, inertial separation, filtration, inertial separation और electrostatic precipitation like above. ये पूरा चैप्टर के ऊपर दो क्वेश्चन आते हैं, आ भी सकते हैं नहीं भी आ सकते हैं. ठीक है, अभी तक जो क्वेश्चन आए हैं ऑलरेडी, एक तो ये प्राइमरी फैक्टर, सेकेंडरी फैक्टर, उसके ऊपर एक क्वेश्चन आ चुका है, और बाद में ये जो टावर्स वगैरह है इसके ऊपर एक बार क्वेश्चन आ चुका है. Now we'll see the next, that is a noise pollution control or noise pollution abatement. So आपके कंपनी में बहुत सारे टर्बाइंस होंगे, बहुत सारे मिक्सर्स होंगे, एयर कूलर्स होंगे to achieve a particular specific condition, compressors होंगे, इलेक्ट्रिक मोटर्स होंगे, heaters, furnace, valves, pipes. So all these they are producing some kind of sound, they are doing some kind of noise pollution, so noise abatement. So there are different equipments, they are present normally in the industry. So they used to produce some kind of noise करेंगे, आवाज करेंगे और ध्वनि प्रदर्शन करेंगे, noise abatement. Okay, so first for example air coolers, so they usually produces the sound in this range 87 to 94 decibel. ये रेंज में वो साउंड प्रोड्यूस करते हैं. कौन प्रोड्यूस करता है साउंड? नाउ दिस साउंड इज प्रोड्यूस्ड बाय सम पार्ट ऑफ योर एयर कूलर्स. सो एरोडायनामिक ब्लेड्स, जो कूलर में जैसे ब्लेड्स होते हैं, That blades, they produces sound. So that sound is nothing but the noise, and it can uh, देखो आप अगर आपने कुछ नॉइज में अगर आप खड़े हो तो हाफ एन आवर में बाद में आपको पूरा इरिटेशन हो जाएगा. So that noise pollution is also not good. So there are certain equipments in the industry, they produce the noise. So air coolers, they will produce noise in this range 87 to 94 decibel. So particularly this part, aerodynamic fans, blades, they produces the sound. So in that case, how you can decrease the sound? Decrease the RPM. जो फैन का स्पीड है उसको कम करो. Decrease the RPM, decrease the pitch, and decrease the pressure drop. So that will control the noise. Again, in again second equipment, compressors. So compressors you are using in the HVAC system, air and ventilation system in the industry. So compressors, air coolers, they both are the part of heating, ventilation, HVAC. So air compressor will also produce around 90 to 120 decibel sound. Sound is measured in the decibel. ये एयर कूलर्स 3 फीट तक आपको इतना डेसिबल का साउंड देंगे. जैसे आपका ये कंप्रेसर भी आपका कितना 3 फीट तक ये डेसिबल का साउंड देंगे. सो दिस साउंड इज प्रोड्यूस्ड because of the installed mufflers. So you can decrease the sound by installing the muffler or intake or exhaust enclosure. Casing, अगर वो उसका उसमें केसिंग में बड़ा बॉडी है, बॉडी अगर बड़ा है उसका तो साउंड कम करेगा. वाइब्रेशन अगर हो रहा है तो वो वाइब्रेशन डिक्रीज कर सकते. वाइब्रेशन, इंसुलेशन, आइसोलेशन एंड लैगिंग ऑफ पाइपिंग सिस्टम, यू कैन डिक्रीज बाय ब्रिंगिंग आउट द चेंज इन द वाइब्रेशन, isolation, lagging and piping system. Actually this part is of your engineering part, but we have to learn. There is no other option. Electric motors, they are also making the sound. They will produce a sound in this range 90 to 110 decibel. So you can decrease this sound by this acoustically lined fan covers. So you, I don't know what is acoustically lined fan, because I am also not an engineering student. You can use motor mutes. Motor mutes मतलब वो आवाज नहीं कर देंगे. Then heaters and furnace. So heaters and furnace also produce a sound in this range 90 to 110 decibel. So again same thing you have to do. Then valves, जो valve होते हैं जैसे देखो pressure से अगर कोई if you are transporting something with the pressure, so that valve will produce a sound less than 80 to 120 decibel. So in this case you can avoid sonic velocity to control the pressure. You can control the pressure drop. Replace the you can replace the valve with a special type of low noise valve. Then in case of pipes also 9 to 105 decibel sound is produced. So you can introduce inline silencers to decrease that noise. You can use vibration, isolation and lagging. Just take, आपको इतना ही याद होना चाहिए कि यार चलो ये इंस्ट्रूमेंट होते हैं, ये नॉइज प्रोड्यूस करते हैं. एयर कूलर, compressor, electric motors, heaters, valves and pipes. Next, this chapter is completed now. We'll see the next chapter, humidification and dehumidification. Humidification and dehumidification. This chapter is again very important for your uh, exams, particularly different type of refrigerant कौन से होते हैं उसके ऊपर क्वेश्चन आ सकता है. कभी आया नहीं अभी तक लेकिन आ सकता है. So what do you mean by this humidification and dehumidification is very important unit process for pharmaceutical industry, because you have to work under control condition. आपके टैबलेटिंग में पर्टिकुलर टेम्परेचर पे ही काम करना है, पर्टिकुलर रिलेटिव ह्यूमिडिटी के ऊपर ही काम करना है. दैट हैज लेट डाउन as per the WHO or USFDA and all that. So you are dealing with the pharmaceutical product. So excessive moisture in the product that can contaminate the product, that can hydrolyze the product, that can cause oxidation. So increase the temperature will also accelerate the degradation of your product or the compound. Okay. So जैसे टेम्परेचर इंक्रीज होगा तो उसका एक्टिवेशन एनर्जी बढ़ जाता है और उसका डिकम्पोजिशन होना चालू हो जाता है. अगर मटेरियल में मॉइस्चर रहेगा तो मटेरियल विल गेट हाइड्रोलाइज्ड, हाइड्रोलाइसिस होगा, या फिर उसमें कंटामिनेशन हो जाएगा, या फिर उसमें बैक्टीरियल ग्रोथ भी हो सकती है. सो ह्यूमिडिफिकेशन, particular humidity should be there, particular temperature should be there. Okay? That's why you have to exercise the humidification and dehumidification in the pharmaceutical industry. So the chapter is again very lengthy chapter. Everything is not important. I just made one slide on that. Humidification means what? So humidification means increase in the moisture of the air. Suppose that you have particular air, and if you introduce a liquid in that, that means you are making humidification. So introduction of liquid into air, that is nothing but the humidification. So humidification means increase in the moisture of air. Okay, and dehumidification means what? Exactly opposite to that, removal of moisture from air. Removal of moisture from air is a dehumidification, and introduction of moisture in the air into air is humidification. In the pharma industry, serious operations are carried out at a 20 to 30% relative humidity. Mostly जो pharmaceutical operations होते हैं जैसे tableting वगैरह, so they are carried out at particular temperature and humidity conditions. Mostly critical operations they are carried out to 20 to 30% relative humidity and 20 to 27 degrees Celsius. But this is not a true for each and every operation. जैसे आप स्टेबिलिटी टेस्टिंग के लिए जाओगे तो उसमें रिलेटिव ह्यूमिडिटी एंड टेम्परेचर कंडीशन अलग अलग होता है हर एक टाइप का स्टेबिलिटी. जैसे शॉर्ट टर्म स्टेबिलिटी टेस्टिंग, इंटरमीडिएट स्टेबिलिटी टेस्टिंग, then long term stability testing, accelerated stability testing. So each and every type of stability testing will have different conditions, different temperature and different relative humidity. So how you can control that? By using humidification and dehumidification. So most of the operations they are carried out in the 20 to 30% relative humidity and 20 to 27 temperature. इसके ऊपर डायरेक्ट एक बार क्वेश्चन आ चुका है. In the pharma industry, serious operations are carried out at a 20 to 30% relative humidity, 20-30% RH, 20 to 27 degrees Celsius temperature. ये याद रखो. और temperature and humidity conditions in the granulation area. Okay, so बाकी एरिया में भी टेम्परेचर कंडीशन, ह्यूमिडिटी कंडीशन आपको कंट्रोल करना है. जैसे आपका प्रोडक्शन एरिया हो गया, ग्रैनुलेशन एरिया हो गया, स्टोर में कुछ नहीं होता, क्यूए डिपार्टमेंट में कुछ नहीं होता इसका. जैसे आपका बाकी ये क्वालिटी कंट्रोल का एरिया है उसमें भी मेंटेन करना पड़ता है. बट these two are important. Temperature and humidity condition in the granulation area 45% relative humidity कितना होना चाहिए 45%. in the granulation area कितना है 45% relative humidity, 22 degrees Celsius temperature. Okay, so you have to maintain a temperature 22 degrees Celsius and humidity 45% in the granulation area. Now in case of tableting area जहाँ पे tablet बन रहा है, in case of tableting area इसमें क्या है, so tableting sections the condition should be like that 20% relative humidity and 22 degrees Celsius. ये tableting जहाँ tablet बन रहा है tableting का area. Okay, so in the granulation area you should have 45% relative humidity and 22 degrees Celsius temperature in the granulation area. In the tablet area the relative humidity should be 20%, temperature should be 22 degrees Celsius. Suppose that you are engaged, if your company is engaged in the soft gelatin capsule, उसमें क्या होना चाहिए, soft gelatin capsule has certain kind of moisture in the empty gelatin shell. So if there is a too much humidity in the environment, so that capsule will stick to each other. And if you are engaged in the manufacturing of hard gelatin capsule, and if your temperature is too dry, your air does not have any humidity, so in that case your capsule will become brittle. So that's why you have to exercise the this temperature and relative humidity conditions. ठीक है, अगर आप सॉफ्ट जेलेटिन कैप्सूल का मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कर रहे हो और आपके इसमें ह्यूमिडिटी बहुत ज़्यादा है तो क्या हो जाएगा, वो कैप्सूल एक में को स्टिक हो जाएगा. ठीक है, so they will not be a separate entity, they will stick to each other. So in the soft gelatin manufacturing area temperature range should be 20 to 22 20-22 degrees Celsius. Okay, and maximum relative humidity should be 40%. तो in case of soft gelatin area, अगर आप soft gelatin का मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कर रहे हो तो वहाँ पे आपको ये कंट्रोल करना है. टेम्परेचर कितना है 20-20-22, 20 से लेके 20-22 डिग्री सेल्सियस टेम्परेचर मेंटेन करना है. एंड ह्यूमिडिटी कितना है 40%, नॉट मोर देन 40%. इससे ज़्यादा अगर ह्यूमिडिटी हो गया तो कैप्सूल विल स्टिक टू ईच अदर. इन द प्रोसेसिंग एरियाज, बाकी के प्रोसेसिंग एरिया में कितना होना चाहिए 20% रिलेटिव ह्यूमिडिटी. ओके, इन द ड्राइंग एरिया 30% होना चाहिए. Likewise that. Okay, now what is refrigerant is any chemical or refrigerant is any substance that can lower the temperature of product and its surrounding. Okay, जैसे आप फ्रिज होता है आपका, फ्रिज फ्रिज मतलब क्या, रेफ्रिजरेटर। तो उसमें क्या होता है कि उसमें कंप्रेसर होता है और कुछ केमिकल्स होते हैं दैट कैन ब्रिंग डाउन द टेम्परेचर, दैट इज नोन एज अ रेफ्रिजरेंट। उसका प्रोसेस होता है, उसका एक साइकिल होता है, वो पूरा थियरी पार्ट वगैरह पढ़ना है तो आप बुक्स में से पढ़ सकते हो, बट दैट इज नॉट इम्पोर्टेंट फॉर योर जीपीएट। व्हाट इज इम्पोर्टेंट, ओनली दिस चार्ट is important. Name and designations of different refrigerant used in the refrigerator or used for the refrigeration purpose. Different type of refrigerant. Okay, designation, name, designation and name. So refrigerant R11. Refrigerant R11. What is it? Trichlorofluoromethane. Okay, fluorinated carbonate. Trichlorofluoromethane. That is known as R11. Refrigerant 11. इसके ऊपर क्वेश्चन आ सकता है। ट्राइक्लोरोफ्लोरोमीथेन, that is a chlorofluoromethane. Greenhouse effect is also because of this fluorinated carbons. R11 is nothing but the R11 is nothing but the trichlorofluoromethane. Then R12 is also known as a ferrontoil. It is nothing but the difluoromethane. Difluoromethane. Likewise, that R13 is there. So R13 is chlorotrifluoromethane. All these are the derivative of methane. Okay? One means mono, one means monofluoro, that means monofluoromethane. Okay, so this one is for chlorine and this one is for methane. Trichloro monofluoromethane. 1 2 means what? Chlorotrifluoromethane, R13. Then R21, dichloromonofluoromethane. Dichloromonofluoromethane. Then again ferron 22 or R22. R22. That is known as a chlorodifluoromethane. R113. Dichlorotetra tetra tetrafluoroethane. Then R1150. They are known as ethylene, and this R1270 is known as propylene ammonia. So these are used as a refrigerant. Refrigerant means they will bring out the, they will decrease the temperature of okay, they will decrease the surrounding temperature. They are used for refrigeration purpose. Remember these refrigerants. R11 is known as a trichlorofluoromethane. Then R12 is known as a ferrontoil, and it is nothing but the difluoromethane. R13 is nothing but the chlorotrifluoromethane. R R21 is nothing but the dichloromonofluoromethane. Then this R22 or ferron 22 chlorodifluoromethane. Then this R113 is known as a dichlorotetrafluoromethane. R1150 is known as ethylene. R1270 is propylene ammonia. So from these two chapters you can expect around 2 MCQs. दोनों चैप्टर में से कितने MCQs आ सकते हैं आपको? मैक्सिमम 2 MCQs और मैक्सिमम 3 MCQs. इसके ऊपर ज़्यादा क्वेश्चन आते नहीं है, लेकिन आ चुके हैं इसलिए अपन ने ये लिए. इसमें के ये इम्पोर्टेंट है, आपको ये क्वेश्चन आ सकता है कि ग्रैनुलेशन टैबलेट ग्रैनुलेशन में कितना होना चाहिए टेम्परेचर, कंडीशन, ह्यूमिडिटी. सब्जेक्टिंग कैप्सूल के एरिया में कितना होना चाहिए. इसके ऊपर ऑलरेडी एक बार क्वेश्चन आ चुका है. क्रिटिकल ऑपरेशंस इन द फार्मास्यूटिकल इंडस्ट्री इज कैरिड आउट एट 20 to 30 degrees Celsius, 20 to 30% relative humidity and this 20 to 27 degrees Celsius temperature. इसके ऊपर ऑलरेडी एक बार आ चुका है और ये आपको चार्ट याद होना चाहिए.